We're all stuck at home, grooming salons are closed, and being a groomer, I've had a ton of calls. I have to groom my dog at home. What blade do I choose? That's exactly why I chose to do this video. By the end of it, you will know exactly what blade to use for your dog. Welcome back to Furry Friend Zone, your YouTube cat and dog destination. We do weekly videos on how to care for your furry friend. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell button so you never miss another video. So you'll notice that all the blades have a number on them, and the number determines the length. So the important thing to remember is the higher the number, the shorter the hair, and then the smaller the number, the longer the hair. So for example, a 30 blade is going to cut much, much shorter than a 4 blade. And you'll see with the teeth on them, it's obvious that the 4 is going to cut the hair much, much longer than the 30. So that's a really, really important thing to remember. So now that we've reviewed the importance of the number on the blade, then you have to pick the proper blade for where you're actually using it on the dog's body. So for example, in the pads of the feet, it varies, but I always use a 30, but I probably would recommend that if you've never done it before, that you use a 10 in the pads of the feet. You can also use the 10 around the bum area. And a lot of groomers will use a 10 inside the ear, but to avoid any complications, I would probably avoid using a blade in the ears because there's a lot of little weird skin flaps that you can nick. So I would stick to the basic feet, bum, and sanitary area for a 10. When you purchase a clipper, they come with one blade, and it's generally a 10 blade, which you would be using in all those areas I just mentioned. So that's a good thing to note as well, that you don't have to purchase a separate blade when you're buying the clipper because it generally comes with a 10 blade. Just read on the box, but it'll specify what blade it does. Another thing to take note is the blades come in, this is an example, I'll use the 4 again. They come in a 4FC, or they'll come in just a 4. The 4 is a skip tooth. You'll notice in the picture, I'll put a picture up so you can see the difference. Don't ever buy the skip tooth because that can cut a dog very easily. Always stick with the F beside it. So 5F, 4F. Now the shorter blades, 10s and 30s, you don't have that concern because they don't come in skip tooth, but the longer blades do. So avoid the ones that don't have an F beside them. Another thing that you might find confusing is there's different brand names for the blades: Andis, Geeb or Geib, Oster, and Wall. And you might be wondering, is there one that's better than the other? It really is a personal choice. They're all universal. They'll all fit on the clippers that you purchase, as long as the clipper that you purchase is a removable blade. And you'll just learn the ones you like and the ones that you don't like as much. Some sharpen better than others. So it's a personal preference. To be honest, I've bought them all, and I find sometimes there's just duds of blades. You'll buy one and they won't work coming out of the package. I don't really have a favorite. I just buy usually what's on sale. The difference between, I'll just put on the screen, the difference between a steel blade and a ceramic blade, just to show you the difference, and just to point out that the ceramic blade, they are a little bit more costly, and they also, the benefits are they don't get heated up as quickly, and they don't corrode as quickly. So that's 2 benefits to that. But one of the things that I don't like is they don't sharpen that well. And that's a factor to consider when you're purchasing blades as well, because sharpening can get very expensive. Now, picking the proper blade to do the body of your dog is probably the part that's going to confuse you the most. And a big factor is how matted the dog is. Generally, I'm going to say for summer cuts, for people that say I want them short so that it lasts them the full 8 weeks during the summertime when it's hot, is my 2 most frequent blades that I use for short cuts are a 4F and a 5F. So those are probably, especially right now because your dog hasn't been groomed for a while, one of those 2 blades is probably going to go through your dog. If you use a longer blade and the dog's matted, it's not going to go through the coat because the blade actually has to go underneath the mat to cut it. And then you also have to be careful that you're not choosing a blade that's going to cut the skin. Like a 7F, I would stay away from because it's good for a really matted coat, but it's also a really, really tough blade because if you nick a flap of skin like under the arms or the legs are tougher, you can really cut your dog. So you have to be aware of a 7F blade. But some dogs, I have groomed dogs where you don't have an option. You have to use a 7F blade because they're so matted. And a 10 on the body, that you only use at critical times when no other blade's going to go through them so that you can get the coat off. So to determine the length that's going to be left on the dog after you've used the blade, it actually says the measurement right on the blade. So for the 4, it's 9.5 millimeter. And for the 5, it's a 6 millimeter. And then it's 3/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch. And then when you're purchasing the blades, you can also look at, this is just sort of more of a visual way of looking at it. You can see on the blade the length that the coat will be left there and there. So those are the 2 lengths of those. And again, they have to go right underneath the mats for it to shave off. So if you want your dog to be left quite a bit longer, which most people do when they're coming to a grooming salon, you can use attachment combs, which I'm going to be doing a whole other video on, how to explain how to use attachment combs, which attachment combs to use. But the key to attachment combs is your dog has to be completely brushed out, and then the attachment comb is used on top of a 10 blade or a 30 blade. I use a 30 blade, but the 10 blade works as well, but it has to be a clean coat and completely brushed out to use attachment combs. I hope this video was helpful. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and stay safe and healthy.